Our job as parents is to instill in our children a resilience and a grit that allows them to trust that they're going to be able to confront the inevitable challenges of life with confidence, no matter what comes their way.
And it's you and me, babe, whatever comes. Knowing bigger hands are holding ours, and the greatest days are ahead of us. Growing in love, learning to be a better us.
Hello, welcome to our home. We're so glad you're here.
Okay, so we've all heard the old saying, it's not whether you win or lose, it's how you play the game, right? Now, while that rolls off the tongue pretty easily, it's a lot harder to swallow when you actually do lose.
Absolutely. Losing can be hard. We're a pretty competitive family, so I get that. We've all had our turn at losing, and our kids know it's not fun. But it can be a useful tool in preparing them for life.
Right. Today, Dr. Mike is on the beach again, this time talking about the value of facing defeat head on and helping our kids learn that being in disappointing situations is okay if we learn from them.
It's actually a lesson we can all learn, and our kitchen couples will weigh in with their thoughts as well.
Also in our Loveology segment, marriage expert Gary Thomas addresses the question, how do I know if my marriage is in trouble? And his answer just might surprise you.
It's all coming up, starting right now.
Picture this. We're down 27-28 with only a few seconds left on the clock in a single elimination tournament. I'm coaching my 10-year-old son's basketball, and let me tell you, this was one of the most exhilarating experiences I've ever had as a coach, as a player. It was awesome. So the kids are kind of starting to freak out a little bit, right? Some of the kids on the bench, they're jumping up and down like they can't control their emotion. We've got to win this game. It's win or go home. A couple of kids on the court, they've already started crying, right? The emotion's so high, the tears are coming. I call a timeout. I'm a good coach, right? Or at least I think I am. I call a timeout. I gather the team together. I'm like, all right, boys, we've got this. You can win this game. Keep your head in the game. I get all the things that are probably meaningless, that I sound like the school teacher from Charlie Brown, wah, 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 wah. But I said it all. I said everything I was supposed to say, and I sent them back out on the court. One of my guys throws the ball into my son. He catches the ball. He dribbles around two defenders. He goes up for the shot. As time is running out, the ball floats off of his fingertips onto the backboard. It bounces around the rim gracefully 2 times, 3 times. And then it fell off to the right onto the ground. We lost. I can hardly talk about it now. I can still feel the pain and the emotion of the loss of that game. And I got to tell you guys, I walked those little 10-year-old basketball players back to the room where we give them their participation trophy, and it was a difficult moment, man. They're crying, I'm crying. I mean, I really wasn't crying, but I felt like I wanted to cry, and I had to say things that were encouraging to them, and I did, and we left, and everybody got their trophy, and my son and I got in the car and we're driving home, and he takes his participation trophy and he puts it up on the dash of my truck, and he goes, Dad, I don't even know why I got this trophy. I don't even understand why they gave it to us. And I was a good dad, so I took that opportunity for a teachable moment, and I talked to him about his effort and the value of competition. I did the right thing in the moment. But I tell you what, after the fact, I really started to think, man, I don't know that I have a great answer for that question. I don't know I have a great answer for why they gave him a participation trophy. I'm sure that there's something that was going on in the mind of the organizers of that league. They wanted everybody to feel special. They wanted everybody to feel like, you know, they did something valuable that season. But in the process, they probably did a disservice to my son and the rest of his teammates. Now, I know that might surprise you to hear me say that, but I'm going to tell you why I think it was a mistake to give them that trophy. And it comes down to this. There is a value to being uncomfortable. There's a value to being and feeling uncomfortable emotions. Losing sucks. It does. It does not feel good. And sometimes it makes kids feel the emotional sting of being uncomfortable. And parents concerned about self-esteem are not letting their children do the difficult things or experience difficult emotions. And as a result, we're developing adults who expect a lot out of life, who may not be willing to give much. And when kids are praised for everything and everybody's a winner every time, it reduces their desire to put in their best effort every time, and it reduces their ability to regulate their negative emotion. And our job as parents is to instill in our children a resilience and a grit that allows them to trust that they can absolutely handle any negative emotion that comes along, and they're going to be able to confront the inevitable challenges of life with confidence, no matter what comes their way. And so the ability to self-regulate and handle negative emotion is consistently identified as a central player in whether people are successful in business, in relationships, and really in life. So we've got to allow our kids to understand that being uncomfortable is just a part of regular everyday life, and they can indeed learn from those experiences and the losses that they experience, and that will help them grow as people. At the end of the day, we want to teach our kids we do not win every time, but we can learn every time.
Well, great to hear from Dr. Mike on the beach with some interesting insights about everybody gets a trophy. We're in the kitchen with our kitchen couples, of course, Dan and Danielle, and Mike and Diane.
Right.
So this is a bit of a controversial maybe topic for some parents as they think, now what do I really think about that? And it gives some food for thought for parents. But I saw this quote posted on social media the other day, and it says, if you raise your kids right, you can spoil your grandkids. But if you spoil your kids, you'll probably end up raising your grandkids.
Wow.
Interesting thought there, right?
Wow.
Okay.
That makes you think, doesn't it?
Part of raising your kids right is helping them teach them how to learn to deal with disappointment in their life. And sometimes, you know, it's losing a game. Sometimes it could be anything, not doing well at a test in school. So,
I mean, we want, as parents, we want to protect our kids.
Yes.
You know, we don't want them to experience anything negative that they don't have to experience.
Right.
But what I hear Dr. Mike saying is sometimes those negative feelings are good for them. It helps build character. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, in a safe, protected way is what we're saying. Like, allow them to experience some things. Absolutely. You know, our lives are not going to go perfectly. There's going to be disappointments across the board, and that's a good thing. That's a healthy thing. God allows us to walk through things. There are some things that we can only learn through suffering in life. Yes. We sell people a bag of goods when we tell them that the Christian life is without suffering. Jesus said, in this world, you're going to have trouble, but take heart because I've overcome it. So you're going to have trouble, but stick with me because I've overcome it. And there are some things that we only learn through suffering, that God uses suffering. He takes what Satan intended for evil and he turns it for good. He uses it for good in our life. He teaches us something. And there's some things that we only learn in the dark, where we have to remember what he's told us in the light, and then we have to stay close enough to him in the dark to be able to hear his voice through it. But if our expectation is that we don't have to go through dark anything, then we're in for a rude awakening. And that's what he was saying. He's like, some of these kids who have been just in a bubble, they're in a bubble their whole life, you know, you come out of that bubble and suddenly, you know, the common cold kills you. Remember that movie War of the Worlds, right? The aliens invaded, and the everyday influenzas that we had all become used to and that we've lived with on this earth, we're fine with, but it killed the aliens because they had no exposure to it.
Spoiler alert. alert.
Yes. Sorry, if you've never seen War of the Worlds. But yeah, and the same thing. If we don't have any negative experiences, you know, we're not allowed to experience disappointment. When we walk out into the world, we're in for a rude awakening.
And I think as moms, I don't know if you are the same, but we do kind of want to bubble wrap our kids and prevent them from going through the tough stuff. And I know this past couple years, our world has gone through so much, and there's been so much that I cannot protect them from. And, you know, it's hard to hear kids will be resilient and all of that, but, you know, we want to protect them. But overall, aside from that, I feel like entitlement has kind of crept up in kids. And I've seen that in my own kids, and I feel like a good, you know, a good balance to that is less screen time, more chore time. And, you know, there was a time when I was like, why are they like this? Why? We even saw it with more screen time. They would think, you know, I deserve this and I should have that.
Right.
And I actually was listening to a psychologist talk about YouTube. And that's kind of the new thing now. Our kids don't even watch TV. They watch YouTube. And she was actually talking about what YouTube does to the brain. So if you can picture a screen, the YouTube page, there's always kind of like a little, a place to scroll here with another new video and the next thing and the next thing. And what it is doing is teaching our kids that whatever I want, I can have it next,
endless choices.
right now. And so when you go to put the meal on the table at dinner time and there's one choice, they go, well, I don't want that.
Right.
You know, and so we have to guard them from this type of thing. We have to be careful and be on it because we don't want entitlement creeping into our kids to think, you know, I can have whatever I want when I want. Yeah.
Wow.
Good point.
That's really good.
Early on, we actually talked about this, both growing up in modest circumstances at best. And we asked ourselves, would our kids struggle enough to be successful, right? And this is a topic that came up many times, certainly more than once, and we often talk through that. You know, our kids have turned out pretty good. And when we speak to this, I think there are a lot of real truths. Yes, they do need to experience the scope of things. However, on a one-off basis, on an individual basis, we ask is one thing, you know, is the kid who wins the trophy, right? Different from the guy who loses the trophy. Yeah, the guy who lost knows he lost, right? The guy who lost doesn't play on to the next round, right? And I guess that was the championship game, so it was only one more, right? But being able to this gives us a chance to speak through these situations as well, because it doesn't stop with the trophy. The key is parenting continues, right? And that is, you know, to say that, hey, listen, you guys played really hard and you lost the game, but you gave it your best, you tried your hardest, right? But, you know, next time, right, these are some things that, you know, if you can kind of talk it through, or maybe it's the coach who talks it through to speak of how we improve, how do we get better, how do we get the better result. So I don't like absolutes, right? Because in any situation like that trophy, there's a young person there who's going to be very successful in the arts and is not as competitive as his son, as Mike's son is, and so that kid is going to remember that trophy he got, right, when he was a kid, and he's gonna tell his kid that he got this trophy at this game where they played this marvelous game, and where the guy who, well, is a really sports guy and really adept at it, and really, you know, that trophy is going to be long gone by that time. So we're all a little bit different. So different things for different people. So, but just keep in mind, yes, struggle does give us strength.
Amen. That's good.
And it's important for a child to not, if say they lose a game, but to not take it personally that they personally are a loser in life. You know, they try to extrapolate that beyond the game. And so how do you, you know, explain that, instill that you know, yes, you didn't win this game, you lost that, but you got so much going for you. You know, you're a wonderful kid. You do this and that, and you're great in these other areas, and don't let that get you down. You know, you have a strong foundation under you of support from mom and dad. You know, hopefully you know God, you know, in your heart, and you have that type of foundation as well. We can help our children to have, and so that they don't. They learn to deal with disappointment. You know, maybe we have to teach them the first few times about that, and then they get to the point where they get disappointed and they can self-regulate, as Dr. Mike was saying. They can do that on their own. They get to the point of saying, okay, yeah, I'm upset, I'm disappointed, but you know what? You know, God's still good. I still have, you know, loving parents. I'm still good in these other areas, and it's not something, I'm not personally a loser at life. You know,
Yeah, it's not denying that you lost, but it's pointing out that that's not the be all and end all defining factor of your life.
Exactly, and to allow them to experience the loss, because we all experience loss at one time or another in our lives, many times throughout our lives, but to be that safety net for them. They know where they can go when they're feeling low, when they're feeling horrible. Come on, no, come over here. No, we love you and you're good, and you know, just build them up. And that's our job as parents.
And teaching them the difference between I had a failure and I am a failure.
Exactly.
Because when we fail, most people that succeed, they're building their success on a mountaintop of failures. They have failed, they have not succeeded, and they've learned to get up and move on. It's not how you fall down, it's how you get back up.
Michael Jordan himself said, 26 times the game-winning shot has been trusted to me and I missed. And he talked about the number of games he lost, and he says, in fact, I've lost, I've failed over and over and over and over and over again in my life, and that is why I succeed.
That's right. That's it.
That's a good note to end on.
For sure.
Really good.
Thanks, everyone. Appreciate that. Stay with us. More Better Us coming up.
When we have this notion that if it's a good match, it won't be difficult, I think we just have an unrealistic view of ourselves. We have an unrealistic view of each other. We have an unrealistic view of relationships in general.
Hey friends, Ron and Ann here. We're so glad you're with us at A Better Us, and we pray your marriage is blessed as you take this in.
Be sure and hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and enjoy this video.
Gary, you and I both know that sometimes in a marriage relationship, there's seasons, there's a passage that where couples are just struggling. It's just a tough time for a variety of reasons. And it just breaks my heart whenever I see that couple that goes, well, obviously there's something significantly wrong with our relationship, when they don't recognize it's temporal. It's temporary. Can you address that?
Yeah. There's nothing wrong with your body if you sweat while you run. There's nothing wrong with your arms if they hurt while you're curling weights. Marriage is a wonderful relationship. It's a glorious relationship. If I had 100 lives, I'd want to be married in every one. It's not an easy relationship. We're not perfect people. We live as fallen people in a fallen world. There will be conflict that has to be overcome. When it's overcome in a healthy way, it draws you closer together. It leads to increased understanding and intimacy. But the road to get there can be painful. And so when we have this notion that if it's a good match, it won't be difficult, I think we just have an unrealistic view of ourselves. We have an unrealistic view of each other. We have an unrealistic view of relationships in general. Being frustrated with your spouse doesn't mean you married the wrong spouse. It just means you're married. If you have a difficult marriage, it doesn't mean you're in the wrong marriage. It just means your spouse is still alive. And so I think we have to get away from this fear we have of difficulty, The best things in life are difficult. Learning to play an instrument, building a business, writing a novel, all of these things, we celebrate the end result, and marriage can be like that. But there are going to be some blisters, there's going to be some frustration, there's going to be some pages that get ripped out and need to be rewritten. And so don't discount a good marriage because it's not a perfect marriage. There are no perfect relationships in this world, but good marriages can become great marriages when we accept difficulty as a necessary part of the process.
That's so true. And the things that we work hardest on are the things that we appreciate the most, right?
Absolutely.
If you inherit something, it's a wonderful gift and it's a blessing, but that's different than earning it yourself, right? And we love those grace gifts, but we deeply appreciate the things that we pay the price for. And that's why marriage is so valuable. So I think the word I'm hearing, Gary, is that when you're going through those seasons, recognize, yes, it's tough right now. It's really difficult, but it is a season, and this too shall pass. We will get to the other side, and we will be stronger as a result of it. Amen?
Amen.
We're ready.
You want to go first?
I'll go first.
Thank you.
Most loved by your spouse.
Oh,
Yeah, so mine is acts of service.
what makes me feel most loved is when he does the things.
For me to feel loved, he cleans the toilets. He goes to the bathrooms. Like,
I'm
yes.
the bathroom
He
cleaner
is
in
the
the
bathroom
house.
cleaner, but I
My
love
kids won't touch it. My wife
I
won't
love
touch
it.
Somebody has to. Right?
And by that I mean like the house cleaning.
Yeah.
It used to be, I thought, time spent. You know, you go through the Dr. Gary Chapman's 5 Love Languages.
the 5 Love Languages book.
But our marriage has really been characterized by us being 2 ships passing in the night, me doing morning shifts, him doing evening shifts. So when I see him taking care of me or the house, to walk home and see the effort was done to clean up, or the kids are in bed already, that makes me feel most loved and seen.
Mine is I love when she scratches my back. And I guess that's what Gary Smalley will call in the 5 love languages physical touch.
It's the little things that Wen does. She gets up to get herself a cup of tea. She always will say to me, can I get you a cup of tea? Or if she's getting something, a snack or something, she'll ask me if I'd like the snack.
You know, she's getting tired, and now she's bought me a lot of
Back scratch.
back scratchers, so I have them all in different locations in the house. I kid you not, like about 4 of them in different locations.
But one of the things is how much Kev is just perceptive and like attuned to like my feelings.
This guy is my defender. He, you know, he's got my back no matter what. He's always looking out for my best interests.
It takes a lot for me to find words to my feelings. And so that's probably been, oh man, I'm gonna cry. Okay.
I mean, everybody has a certain, to a certain degree, some selfishness within us. But I know that this guy, whatever he's doing, whatever he's thinking, is going to be for my good.
He's so patient in letting me just sputter out and mix sentences incoherently for like half an hour to get to the final point at the end. And so he just
gives me a sense of security and confidence and obviously love.
She makes me feel seen in a way that most of my thought patterns, most of my framework mentality is all about pretending a lot. I will put up walls and she'll be kind of like peeking slowly and saying, it's okay. And don't worry, I got you in that level of like, I know you. And you don't have to exert so much effort pretending to be someone else. So that. Yeah.
Good job.
more marriage encouragement, follow A Better Us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube.
And subscribe for your free weekly Marriage Moment email at abetterus.tv.
Well, we've come to the end of another program, and we're so glad you've joined us.
This episode has reinforced a truth that we all know. Being married and raising children are two of the most challenging yet rewarding experiences in life.
As Dr. Mike taught us, we need to help our kids learn how to handle disappointment and negative emotions, which will occur over and over in their growing up years. And trying to protect them from all the pain doesn't prepare them for the future. However, teaching them how to stand on a solid foundation will keep our kids steady during those inevitable tough times.
And the same is true during the ups and downs in our marriages. Gary Thomas made the point that yes, there will be seasons of struggle, but we can walk through them in a healthy way. As he said, the best things in life are difficult, but so worth it.
Right. The great news is that we can tap into the eternal source of help and strength from the one who is the author of life and love. It's God himself.
Many times in the Bible, God promises to be with us in difficult times. I know he has definitely been there for us.
Yeah. It is as we invite him to be in charge of our life and we develop a personal relationship with Jesus, that's when he does a deep work in us. That has a positive impact, not just on us, but on every relationship in our life.
That's right. If you want to know more about this kind of personal connection with God, and maybe even receive prayer for whatever it is you're going through, the number on the screen is there for you. It's our prayer line, and it's available for you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Why not give us a call?
Well, thanks for joining us today, and we're so glad you did. And remember, with God, there is always hope to become a better us. Hey friends, we really hope you're enjoying the marriage conversations here with A Better Us on our YouTube channel.
We have hundreds of more helpful marriage videos designed to give you hope and tools to make your marriage better.
And you can see just a few options we think you might like here and here.
Enjoy! Oh, and make sure you subscribe by clicking here so you don't miss out on all the great marriage help we have coming your way soon.